I couldn't hold a knife and slice an onion. I couldn't open a can. I couldn't grip things. And now I'm in there chopping away and cooking up a storm again. So I love that.
Hey everybody, welcome. Today we are interviewing Candi, and Candi's been dealing with rheumatoid arthritis for a long time. And it's caused, and how many of you out there know this? It's caused you a lot of pain, mobility issues, brain fog, fatigue, you name it. And Candi's just a couple years away from retirement. I can't wait for you to meet Candi and see where she is today.
Hi, everyone. I'm Anna Manuel. I'm the co-host of Transform Table Talk, and I'm so excited today to get to talk to Candi because, as you may know, I went through the Transform program, and Candi was going through it right alongside with me. I knew she was dealing with a lot of pain, and I knew she was dealing with RA, but I had no idea just how amazing her transformation has been since graduating the program. I cannot wait for you to see it. Candi, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, my name's Candi Freer. I live in Livermore, California. Fun fact about me, I love musicals, and one of my best friends puts together musical shows. So I probably, over the course of the last 20 years, I've seen probably 200 shows.
Wow. Can you name a favorite? What would be your favorite musical?
Wicked would be one of my favorite.
So you love getting out. You love getting to spend time with friends and going to the theater and doing fun things, I know, with your husband. But over the last how many years now has it become more and more challenging because of your health?
The last 2 years has been very challenging because my mobility went from, I'm very active. I've worked out 5-6 days a week to not being able to walk 2 feet.
And this was because you were diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis. When did that diagnosis come?
Probably about June of 2021. When this started, it was just a minor swelling. And then within 2 months, every joint in my body was affected. Not only could I not, walk very far, my hands, I couldn't grip things, my elbows all the way up to my shoulders. I mean, there was every joint in my body was affected.
Very extreme to go from somebody who's active, loves working out, to now every joint in your body hurts, is swollen, you feel like you can't move. Emotionally, what was that like for you, Candi?
I shut down and I isolated myself. I mean, because, most of our friends were people from the gym, because you spend so much time there when you're not working and doing things at home that, they become some of your closest people. They're like-minded people. And so for me, it was kind of hard because I was the oldest one out of everybody in our group that worked out. I was working out with people, 20, 30, even 40 years younger than I was. And to have them see me not being able to stand up straight and walk was, it was hard, a little bit of an ego thing there, but it was hard. And it was also during COVID, so I was isolated anyways. So you have all these things hitting you at once.
And so what was the feeling? Lonely, depressing?
Well, lonely, yes. I was entering in a space where I had never been before. And that's that dark depression, because I had no idea, how to handle this. I'd gone to the rheumatologist that I'd seen, and his answers were just not sufficient. So I went with a list of questions. One was, can food help me? Another one was, what about hormones? Do hormones enter into all of this? What about movement, exercise? How can I utilize that to help me? Are there drugs, things that are not toxic that I could be taking, supplements, any of that?
You were on the right track. You were asking all the right questions, and you knew that there were solutions there. But what did your doctor tell you? Did he say food could help you?
He said, well, it's always good to eat right. He actually did give me a referral to a nutritionist. And when I met with her, she had no idea. I mean, except for the common sense things that we all know in our everyday, right? She had no idea what to do for autoimmune.
Yeah, no specific knowledge as it relates to autoimmunity and how to turn around autoimmunity through proper diet, through blood sugar balancing, through proper hydration, through any of this, through nutrient deficiencies. So you were just getting very generalized help, and it wasn't sounding like it was going to move the needle for you in any kind of meaningful way.
Not at all. And all the rheumatologists could do for me was offer me the toxic drugs that I didn't want to be on. I honestly felt really let down by the medical community because you want to live a healthy life. You don't want to be on these toxic drugs because you know in the long run you're going to have more issues down the road. And that was my whole point. And the other thing that I asked him that was really important to me was root cause. Where's this come from?
How do we?
The answer was he exactly verbatim. That's the $10,000 question.
Okay, so did that set you then on a path to searching for help elsewhere?
Yeah. So you know how when you start typing in Google, everything starts coming up in your Facebook feed. I got all kinds of things that I was looking at, and there were good little nuggets in all of that. There were, a nugget here, a nugget there, but nothing that pulls it together. And I just, by chance, Dr. Maggie came up.
Yeah.
And I listened to her 5 pillars presentation, and I was like, that's it. It's all right there. It makes complete sense.
It was the questions that you yourself knew in the back of your mind. You were asking your doctor some of these questions to begin with. But Dr. Maggie, it sounds like, then put it all together for you in this comprehensive way. And the light bulbs just went off. It made sense. And was there hesitation then once you learned about Dr. Maggie and the Transform program of you joining?
I knew immediately that it was what I needed to do. I just needed to save up a little bit to make it all happen. And so I think I waited maybe 8 or 9 months. And then when I was ready to do it, I just pulled the trigger and did it.
Well, I'm curious, you knew right away. You had that conviction that this is it. This is the answer. This is what's going to help me. So much so that then you started a plan to save up, because sometimes that is a barrier for people. Ooh, do I want to spend this money? Do I want to commit this? But you knew, I need to spend this money on myself to help myself. Why would you tell somebody else that that's so important?
For me, I knew I was retiring in 4 years at that point. And I did not want to be crippled and not, be in a wheelchair, because that's where I was headed. And I also knew that I had big plans for my retirement. And I'm not talking about just traveling and other things. There's other things that I want to do with my life. And, my mom and my aunts, they all lived until they were well into their 90s. My husband's a little bit younger than I am. And we used to joke all the time that, I'm going to far outlive him because of just my genes and my genetics. So having this happen really set me back a bit. And I knew that I wanted that life that I had, dreamed of.
And what is that life? In a nutshell, can you share with me some of the things that you were dreaming about?
Yeah, I've always been very interested in holistic health.
Oh.
And have always worked with a naturopath. So for me, my dream is somehow making it more accessible to everybody.
Well, that's an incredible dream. And who would have thought that this is actually exactly what it is that you needed yourself? That's really beautiful, Candi.
Yeah, that's what's been my driving force.
Let's talk about how bad the pain was. You mentioned you couldn't walk around well. Was it something where you almost couldn't get out of bed some days? Where would you rank the pain and the mobility?
Oh, all of that. So my pain when all this was at its height was at an 11.
Off the chart.
I mean, that's how bad. I would step my feet down off of the bed in the morning and couldn't stand up straight. So we started putting a stool next to the bed. So I would get up out of bed, sit in the stool, and literally kind of get up and down to get my body warmed up, doing like a squat type thing. And then I would shuffle into the bathroom and get ready for the day. But it was so painful to even walk in my bed to my bathroom is probably no more than 5 or 6 feet. It was so painful, and it was such a process. Like that whole process would take me 10, 15 minutes in the morning just to do that. And then getting myself ready and getting myself dressed, that was a whole other story. So in the morning, I needed at least an hour and a half to 2 hours to just get myself ready for work and get the day started.
Were you starting to contemplate, what am I going to do? I can't go on like this, in terms of, were you thinking you might have to leave your job even?
I hadn't gotten that far, but I was losing all hope.
Okay.
I was literally losing all hope. To be honest with you, my husband is amazing. Once he saw how deep I was going and how dark it was getting, he was bound and determined to find something to help. And so I think just his determination and his, care and his love is what kind of kept me kind of just really going down the deep, dark drain.
I love it. I love it. And now he's there with you, hopefully celebrating. Let's talk about where you are now. You're about 6 weeks outside graduating the Transform program. Where would you rank your pain level now?
I would say at the most 2 and 3 is where I am.
So you went from off the charts 11 to now down to 2 or 3. I would say that sounds very manageable.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's all a process, right? And so for me, it's the consistency of all the things that we put in place within the program.
Well, let's talk about it. What do you think it was? What was maybe the number one thing that got you this result? Because in such a short amount of time, you were able to diminish this pain.
I would say blood sugar leveling was the number one. I was somebody that intermittent fasted for 4 to 5 years prior to the program, and I loved that way of life. It fit me, it suited me, and so when we were learning about blood sugar leveling, I was like, it probably doesn't apply to me.
It's so funny. So many people come into the program thinking that, like, I've got blood sugar licked, I'm balanced, I'm good, or I'm doing intermittent fasting and that's what works for me and my metabolic everything. But then what did you learn about blood sugar? Once you started to really get yourself in balance, what did you see and what did you learn?
Well, it all started one morning when I woke up and I felt awful. And it was the second week in the program, we were actually beginning to study blood sugar. And I woke up and I had this raging headache. I could barely walk again because I was really struggling. And I came into the kitchen to feed the dogs and get my coffee going and all that. And I thought, I've got an hour. I'm going to do a module. And then the light bulb went off. I'm like, blood sugar. So I drank down probably about 50 ounces of water. I had breakfast. And within an hour or two, all of that was all gone. The headache, me feeling tight and not being able to move, all of it was all gone.
That is incredible. You hear about sometimes people say, okay, after I really got myself worked on blood sugar, within a couple days, maybe 48 hours, I was feeling so much better. But for you, it was within hours, like 2 hours.
And I started thinking back on, how I would organize my life, right? Because I would get up in the morning, I'd go to the gym, I'd come home, I'd get myself ready for work, grab my coffee and get in the car and drive an hour and a half to work. And this is all without eating. And I would feel awful not knowing why. I'm like, I know I slept well. Why am I feeling so bad? Food.
The knowledge you gain in this program about blood sugar, and that is why it's at the very beginning of this program too, because it is so critical to lay that foundation so that you can build upon it with all of the other information that you learn as you go through. What else was helpful for you?
For me, it was also hormones and food mapping. Those two things, like food mapping was eye-opening because I always ate trail mix, right?
And tell us why that was so great for you.
I have almonds.
So almonds showed up as a sensitivity for you that you had no idea, and it was something you were eating almost every day.
Almost every day.
So you got the almonds out, and did you notice a difference? Were you having some symptoms, maybe bloating?
Well, it was almonds and canola seed for me. And so canola seed, also big deal. I don't use canola oil at all in the house, but when you go out to eat, it's all they use. It's all restaurants use. And I had no idea. Prior to this starting, we were doing a remodel. And so we were eating out a lot more. So I can just imagine how that build up,
Constantly. And so now you're aware of it. You know how to avoid your triggers so that your body is in not this constant state of war. Amazing. And what did you learn about your hormones?
Hidden PCOS, which was a shocker. I mean, a shocker for me. Fatty liver, hidden PCOS. I had no idea.
But now looking back to some of the symptoms that associate with it makes sense to you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And isn't it incredible? I have to share something with you personally. I went through the program and I had hidden PCOS with fatty liver also. And it's like you look back and you think of all of the different doctors that you visited before and how no one had caught this. And then you're not able to get the help that you need, and you're not able to then work to fix and calm down the PCOS if you don't even know that you have it. So Dr. Maggie, she has been studying hormones for decades now, and she is the hormone expert specifically as it relates to autoimmunity. And many people don't realize that PCOS is an autoimmune disease. So when you finally discovered that, what were you able to do, and how has life changed since? What are you implementing?
Well, I implemented what Dr. Maggie put in place for me and the supplementation that she put in place for me. And I can tell you that it makes a difference.
Yeah.
It makes a huge difference. Taking care of your liver, taking the right omega-3s, all of that, putting all of that in place has just made a huge difference. And I believe it's the reason why I feel better every single day. And my mobility is getting better every single day. So.
Right. Dr. Maggie from day one says this may be a 10-week program, but it's launching you into a year of autoimmune turnaround. And so you're just still at the very beginning of that. So if your pain went from an 11 down to a 2 or 3, well, great, because now you have even more room for growth and things to look forward to.
I got a question for you. A lot of people don't even know, what does it mean to feel different when your PCOS and your hormones are balanced?
There are a lot of little things. So I would say one would be my sleep. I've had a huge improvement in the quality of sleep that I get. You don't even realize it when you're in the middle of all that. Like, you think I've slept the night through and, you don't realize it. But the quality of sleep you get once everything starts calming down makes a huge difference. And for me, sleep is, I'm finding, because I never did sleep well before, I'm finding sleep is a huge thing for me, and how my body feels and how my body reacts with everything else that's going on in it.
Well, and it's so important for healing too. You have to have that restorative sleep to be able to heal. And it's so important for proper hormone balancing as well, because there's so many important things that are happening with your hormones while you sleep. And if you're not getting proper sleep, well, none of that's happening. Yeah. Okay. So sleep, that's one big thing. Can you think of anything else that felt much better once you started to get your hormones more in line?
I would actually say something about the hormones coming in line, and my digestion seemed to change a bit too. Like, I'm finding, and I don't know if it was just a culmination, but I'm finding that I'm digesting my food a lot better, because my body feels lighter. Like, let's say you have a meal and I'm eating basically a lot of the same things, and before, those things would make me feel like I have a heavy belly.
The bloating.
That's no longer the case.
The bloating is gone.
There you go.
Bloating is gone. Don't we all want that? No one wants to feel bloated. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't look good. And you feel lighter now. And you know that your body is now absorbing and digesting those important nutrients that you need to, again, help you get well.
One other thing that's super important is the brain fog and just my mental capacity, like, I'm focused, and they're getting better every day. So yeah, that's been huge.
I'm curious, what does your husband think about the Candi now? And what do your friends from the gym think? Have you been back to the gym?
I am working with a trainer now. I was doing some crazy workouts. I don't know that I'll ever go back to doing that type of working out. It was CrossFit on steroids, basically.
Tough on the body, it sounds like.
Yeah. And at 62, you got to start looking at doing things differently. So melt is a huge part of my life. Huge part of my life. I melt probably 2-3 times a day. Even if it's just the hand and foot treatments, I get to that every single day. But I am working with a trainer that trained me to do a half marathon a few years back. And we're just going about it slowly, getting my body to move. In terms of how my husband, sometimes I'll catch him looking at me and he's like, do you remember when you couldn't even do that? Do you remember when? And he's always like, because sometimes you still have a bad day here and there, right? And sometimes I'll just be like, oh, gosh. And he's like, do you remember when you couldn't even do that, though? Do you remember?
So give me some examples. What were some things you couldn't do?
So I love to cook. I grew up cooking, and I couldn't hold a knife and slice an onion. I couldn't open a can. I couldn't grip things. And now I'm in there chopping away and, cooking up a storm again. So I love that. It feeds my soul. It's my therapy. Actually, cooking is my therapy.
You're getting your life back.
I am. Yeah. Yeah.
What's that like for you?
Well, I've got hope again.
Something that you had lost.
And I'm excited. I'm excited about the next couple of years. Like I said, I've got big dreams. I want to do things, when I'm not working the hours that I'm working right now, I have big plans.
I'm curious then, what did you think about being in the program? What were some of your favorite things about the Transform program?
I got all of it. Learning, getting answers. I went through 3 rheumatologists, 3. And even the one that I'm with right now I'm not sure it's going to last much longer. I finally getting answers and learning all this and having the tools to be able to take care of yourself. And so somehow eating something that I wasn't prepared for, I know how to take care of it. If I'm feeling any one way, I know I've got resources to, look back on and I can go on, pull up a module and just read through things so I can learn how to, remember and learn how to take care of myself. Those things are huge.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing is my pod. I love them to death.
The community and the friendships that you got out of it.
Absolutely.
And was that something you were expecting?
No. I mean, to tell you the truth, I don't know what I was expecting. When I explain the program to people now, it's like getting your master's in 10 weeks in autoimmunity. And, and you're in the thick of it. And it is so rewarding. Like every time you learn something new and a light bulb goes off, it's like,
it's so good.
So all of that is so important.
Well, what was it like working with Dr. Maggie? I know people always, they see her on these videos and they have questions about, okay, what was it like? So I want to hear from you, Candi. What did you think about working with Dr. Maggie?
She was awesome. How she does what she does, I don't know, but she has the answers to like all of our questions. And there's a comfort in all of that. There's a comfort in knowing that you have somebody who knows what they're talking about. They've been there. She spent 10 years pulling this together, for all of us, working on herself. So all the trial and error she went through, she's applying today to what we're learning. And that was huge for me. You can trust her and you'll be taken care of.
Sounds like such a different experience and quite the juxtaposition between the rheumatologist that said, well, eating healthy is probably a good idea. And, ooh, that's the $10,000 question, to now working with Dr. Maggie. She has all the answers. She knows exactly what's going to work and she knows how to implement it for you so that you're going to feel better.
Right.
So you mentioned that you had to save up for this. And I'm just curious at where would you put the value of this program?
I don't think you can put a value on this program. It's like I said, it's part of my dream that this gets accessible to everybody and figuring out a way, because people need this. You need it. Whatever you have to do to get it done, you need to do. Not just for, your autoimmune, it's for how to live your life going forward and how to keep yourself healthy and happy.
Yeah, because it's not just specifically an autoimmune program. So many people come in that don't even have autoimmune disease. They may have history symptoms that might be similar to autoimmune disease, or they may just have other things going on with them. But there's also so much additional general health information. And what did you think about the mindset work?
Oh my gosh. I always thought I was a pretty positive person, but automatic negative thoughts for me.
Yeah.
I mean, I was just, that first part of it for me was crazy. And it opened me up to everything else. The mindset is everything around living your life. Your mindset determines the outcome.
Yes.
Period.
Isn't it incredible when you realize that?
And I'm not saying that I don't still need to check myself. I do, but it's so much better now than it was before. I never say try anymore. That's one thing I'll never say. And I never say I can't. Instead of saying I try, I usually say I'm working towards this. And then instead of saying I can't, I say I'm going to do. And I leave it at that.
Yes. So what I'm hearing from you is that not only did this help you physically, but this really reframed your whole mindset in that it's changed your whole life, it sounds like.
Yeah, I mean, more ways than one. So it was one thing to address what I have going on with my autoimmune issues, but it's another thing to address your mindset as well. And you come out a better person, I think is what I would say. You come out a better person because you've now learned how to be more open to the world around you and how to maneuver things in a positive, affirmative way, just get through it all. Also, you learn this healthy lifestyle and how to support your body, how to support your liver, how to eat with all of that. All of that stuff for me is eye-opening.
Yeah. We don't talk about the liver often enough, and they don't even realize that there is a big focus on that in the program of liver health and making sure you're supporting your liver appropriately. So you found that extremely helpful.
All of it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, everything that we learned. The nutrient dense eating, so important in how you feel, not only physically, but mentally.
Well, and talk about that too, because you mentioned at the beginning of this interview that you were referred to a nutritionist who really did not have a clue about autoimmunity. And then within the program, you're able to work with a functional nutritionist who specializes in autoimmunity. So what was that like? I mean, what was the value of that?
Again, the value of that is huge, right? Because you go through your life and you think, there's so much information out there, first of all, right? Eat this, do this, keto, whatever.
Yeah.
There's all these things out there and, you're trying to figure out what works. And when it's put together in the context that we have it within the program, it all makes tons of sense. And not only does it make tons of sense, I no longer write down everything I eat every minute of every day.
You have to.
I'm not weighing every ounce or every, it's just a very simple process that makes sense and that works for your body.
So if somebody is watching this video and maybe they're suffering with RA, or maybe they're suffering with pain and mobility issues and brain fog and so many of the things that you were dealing with, what would you want to say to them?
Do the program. I mean, find a way to do the program. Learn as much as you can. Take it all in. It will change your life. I know money's tough, right? For everybody right now. But if you don't have your health, you have absolutely nothing. You have absolutely nothing. And I was losing hope. And I had a lot of good people around me. But it doesn't change how you feel and what your body's feeling. And so if you're not finding a way to take care of that, this is something I can tell you that with everything that I've seen that's out there, and I looked at a lot. Like I said before, they give you little nuggets of things. And yes, that might be good. That might be great nuggets. But unless you have a structured program like this, it's got to all come together in that way in order to have the progress that you're looking for.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to get to the finish line. What about, though, if that person watching says, oh, okay, well, that's great for Candi. I'm so happy it worked for her, but I don't think this will work for me. What would you say to that?
There were a lot of other people with a lot of other autoimmune issues. And I would say that every single one of them, and everybody's different. They're not going to have the same progress. There were other people having results quicker, but everybody's different. But consistency and doing the program makes all the difference in the world.
And everybody, though, that was my experience when I was in the program. Mm-hmm. I saw every single person celebrating wins. Mm-hmm. I saw every single person getting better in this way or that way, some faster, some were taking a little bit longer because maybe they had more longstanding health issues or whatever. They hadn't yet gotten to their linchpin, but everyone was improving alongside one another. And that was so incredible to me too, was, wow, this program, we all might have different issues, but it all has the same root causes. And so if you can tackle each of those root causes, well, each of us can then get better.
Absolutely. I just want to thank Dr. Maggie and everybody else on the program. My pod, without all of you, who knows where I would be today.
I think, Candi, I don't know where you were at with gratitude before the program, but where your gratitude today is your actual secret source of your power. It's your gratitude.
Every morning, I get up in the morning and approach the day with gratitude.
Yeah.
And thankful that I can get up out of bed without sitting in that stool. Some days are, a little bit tough where I'm still a little bit stiff, but I am nothing where I was before. And so I'm grateful for every little thing in the morning. And I write down 5 things that I'm grateful for as I wake up. And then I implement things during the day. So my gratitude has totally changed.
It's like your cup has runneth over.
Mhm.
I recently broke my foot. And even in healing my foot over the past 3 months, like once I got out of my cast, walking my foot hurt, right? And I would repeat in my head and I would catch myself. I'd be like, my foot hurts, my foot hurts. And the first step, it's the worst. It's the first step out of your bed and you're like, it hurts. But then I decided, I was just like, and I teach this and I catch myself. The difference between, I think, someone who has mastery and someone who struggles with it is actually just awareness and the ability to intervene and turn it around faster. That's really at the time it takes to do the implementation.
Yeah.
So I was like, my foot hurts. Like someone's like, oh, how bad am I? I'm in pain. Like just the languaging, and me in words. So immediately I said, after about a couple days of it, I was finding myself getting myself more down and I was getting more and more pain. And I realized my foot is remodeling every single day.
Remodeling.
No, my foot is getting stronger and stronger every day. And my foot is remodeling every single day. She works so hard for me. I'm really proud of her. And the moment I switched that, my pain is less and less, and I'm getting even bigger and bigger gains every day because it's the truth. Isn't it true that she's remodeling every single day? Isn't it true that she is getting stronger and stronger every day? Yes, it is.
And how about this? She actually supported you
All these
even with all that
years.
pain, right? And so, body awareness has always been a thing for me, right? I've always struggled my weight a bit. And so, that negative talk where you like, oh my God, look at that. Oh, that is no
You're
longer in
cursing
my
yourself and your body all day
So
long.
I'm like, look at these thighs. They have carried me.
Exactly.
They
We
have
love you
taken
guys.
me to the next level, And, I do the same thing with my feet because those are the last residual 2-3 pain levels, right?
Yep.
And so, but like they're flat on the ground. So,
I'm
yeah,
thankful,
absolutely. I'm taking that from you too. I'm going to use that from now on.
Borrow it from me. And that's the
All
thing.
right, I'll borrow
I think the key to mastering is you talk to somebody who's smarter than you, and then you talk to somebody who's even smarter than them, and you learn from somebody who's even smarter than them. And then the time it takes from the thought to implementation gets shorter and shorter and shorter in you. That becomes mastery. That's the everyday that we do. So you're the master of your health, Candi. Congratulations.
Yeah, I am.
I'm so
grateful
proud
for.
of
I'm
you.
grateful for all of you. I'm grateful for all of you. So thank you.
You're welcome. Super proud of you.
I can't wait to do my hormones again.
I can't wait either because it's your journey. Hormones aren't
Yeah.
one and done. They're going to continue journey for life. I
Yeah.
love my ovaries and she loves me and she's going to continue to grow and change. And I'm going to be right there with her. What an amazing journey Candi had with her rheumatoid arthritis, from diagnosis 2 years ago to completely being sidelined in her life, in her career, and in the kitchen, to back to work, looking forward to retirement, getting active, cooking again, enjoying her life again, and fulfilling her dream of understanding really what the root causes of natural medicine and being able to bring that information to others. Here she is today sharing that dream, and I'm just thrilled. If you were inspired by her journey and you want to learn more, make sure you click the link above or below this video and start a chat with our team, or join our Facebook group, Transform Autoimmune